You know how they say if somebody was good enough to invent it, then it should be made? But in some cases, this saying just doesn't apply, such in the case with concept cars, as it's a very difficult and complex concept that doesn't always turn out to be good for both the manufacturer and the customer. Concept cars are mostly used to highlight a strategic move from the manufacturer and also a direction in which the automotive industry should possibly move. The design is where they differ the most, especially in the exterior part. But sometimes, due to unknown reasons, these concepts fail to meet the standards, or the manufacturer decides to back out of the project. Here are some of the top concept cars that just never saw the light of day. Ford GT90 1995. During the 1990s, most of the cars were kinda dull, characterless shaped pieces of material. The Ford GT90 was set to change this trend. As the awesome supercar design is still living up to its fame after more than 25 years, its initial debut in Detroit at the 1995 Auto Show. The car has a svelte design that combined aggressive angles with sweeping arcs, and it's safe to say that this was the closest that Ford got to Lamborghini regarding the designs. This car was built on a Jaguar XJ220 platform, and its main purpose was to tribute to the classic Ford GT40. The GT90 was equipped with a massive 6-liter quad-turbo V12 engine, as the target top speed was 235 miles per hour. The car was available in multiple video games, but due to some reasons, Ford just opted to not put it into production process. 10 years later, the company released the retro-inspired Ford GT, which was followed by the current generation of Ford GT. Dodge Dakota Sidewinder, 1997. This car was first noted at the SEMA show in Las Vegas in '97, as it was simply referred to as the Dodge Sidewinder. But it was never intended to foreshadow a production vehicle. Although it was very attractive, it was something that could be used for everyday activities. This particular masterpiece had a Viper engine, which was basically mounted on a modern piece of design technology. The styling was attractive and miraculous, resembling the modern El Camino. But still, although it hit the auto show circuit with too much fanfare, it still failed to hit the market. Nissan Stylish 6, 1997. This unusual masterpiece was introduced in the same year as Dakota Sidewinder, but in a different place, at the Tokyo Motor Show. Resembling a minivan, the new concept of Nissan had 3 rows of seating, a tall roof, and a low floor plan. There was a subtle touch of chrome at the front, along with an 8-slat grille and 2-tone color scheme. The CVT, or continuously variable transmission, along with a hybrid powertrain were used in the car. As of now, you can't help but notice how it looks like the modern crossover vehicles we are looking at today. It also helped Nissan to move in a new direction with its designs. Although never entering into production, the Stylish 6 helped Nissan in designing and creating future products for their company. The Volkswagen W12 Nardo. This masterpiece was invented in the 1990s, and it was mounted with a 5.6-liter V12 built from 2.8-liter VR6 units. Every design aspect of the W12 was impressive, starting from its exterior styling to the interior appointments and the power below its hood. However, this exotic piece of mastermind engineering never saw the light of day, and one of the reasons why is the complexity of the power plant. Apparently, it was too complicated and expensive to manufacture the V12 engine. 1991 BMW E1. BMW was thinking ahead of its time when it comes to electric vehicles, and one prime example of that is the 1991 BMW E1. At the Frankfurt Auto Show, the styling, powertrain, and packaging of this car were very controversial and ahead of its time, within and outside the company. The practicality and functionality of this car were something that wasn't seen by other manufacturers at the time. The range, however, was very small compared to what EVs can pass now on a single charge, and it was labeled as 155 miles. But for a 1991 car, that was as close to perfection as an EV can get. The EV1 also shows how impressive the progress in the electrification of cars has come, but the safety issues of this car made it non-productive, as it caught fire during a charging session, which not only destroyed the expensive electric prototype, but also a part of the building, which was the main reason why BMW decided to back out of production. Lamborghini Esto. Lamborghini doesn't disappoint when it comes to supercars, and this concept car, firstly introduced in 2008, was a promising lot. It was introduced at the Paris Motor Show, and its first front-engine vehicle since the LM002 utility vehicle. The name comes from a sword that was traditionally used by matadors, called estoc. This model has the potential to be the first practical Lamborghini model, as the design was similar to what we see in Porsche Panamera. The wagon-like design and the concept of this car gathered a lot of attention in the auto show circle, but the car was just never put into production. Mercedes-Benz G-Force. When it comes to comfort, luxury, and practicality, Mercedes are ahead of its class. However, they wanted to try something that would be a more eco-friendly vehicle that was able to climb anywhere, mostly focused on the Highway Patrol of California. Mercedes are masterpieces when it comes to design, as this vehicle looks far less rectangular than any of its predecessors, but still resembles the look of a G-Class. The vehicle is one of the biggest deviations from the traditional Mercedes vehicles. Rounded rear fenders stick out from the body and give the inner G haunches the original G never had. The vehicle was fuel cell powered and had a range of 500 miles. It was the perfect vehicle for outback adventures on rocky terrain without you having to worry about chassis damage or amortization damage. Although it was never put into production, the resemblance that this car makes to the G-Wagon shows that Mercedes was really onto something. Maybach Exelero. This marvelous piece of engineering is available in just one piece, and it's owned by the hip-hop and rap performer Jay-Z now. If you want to process this beauty, you'd have to make around $8 million out of your own pocket. The vehicle was made by Stola after the company collaborated with Daimler Chrysler. The initial idea of this vehicle was to test Goodyear's new Carrot Exelero type range, as it was the second ever vehicle to show as a one-off car for the high-performance range of tires. Therefore, it was very important for this car to reach at least 217 miles per hour so that the Exelero type tires could be put to the limit. The initial design was supposed to be similar to the Maybach SW38 and constructed on the base of a Maybach 57. It was powered by a V12 twin-turbo engine made by Maybach that is mounted at 60 degrees. Each cylinder has 3 valves, and the engine produces 725 pounds of torque at 2,500 RPM. As the engine is mounted with a 5G-tronic automatic transmission, 0 to 60 miles per hour acceleration is just done in 4.4 seconds, and the maximum speed of the vehicle 218 miles per hour. Bugatti Galibier. In 2009, the design that this car possessed was one of the most innovative and extravagant ones we've ever seen. It resembled the Rolls-Royce Ghost, and the most surprising aspect of it was this car was practically a sedan, the first from the brand. However, for some reason, most likely Wolfgang Durheimer put the car on hold because it wasn't designed to Bugatti standards. The car was never put into production. Wolfgang, who is the chief of Bugatti, believed that Bugatti needs to be top-notch in every aspect to the billionaire folks, which are the most common buyers of Bugatti. The initial idea was to surpass the Veyron, and when the execs in VW found out that the Galibier project was killed, they started to develop the Bugatti Chiron. Chrysler ME412. The American manufacturer was firstly introduced in 2004 at the North American International Show, and this was the time when Daimler Chrysler was at its peak, and the car was rocking the carbon fiber design, using the material to build most of the parts that assemble the chassis and the body panels. Chrysler and Mercedes were on very good terms here, and the brand didn't want to go far to source a reliable power source. This resulted in a 6-liter AMG V12 engine mounted on the Chrysler. It was a fully operational prototype, as it was affirmed for production too, but the relationship between Chrysler and Mercedes went to ashes, and Mercedes weren't able to approve a Chrysler-built supercar with AMG power to go to production. One of the reasons why is that it would have challenged the SLR McLaren, a product of Mercedes. We hope that you learned something about concept cars and why they didn't go into production. We can only imagine what automobile world would have been if some of these masterpieces were put into production. Yet, imagination is sometimes the most powerful utility of a man.